Yeah, even though I'm talking about the Amico still, it's buzzing because I'm getting constant messages from people saying, "Wow, I only expected to watch 20 minutes, but I've watched 4 hours." Like so, it's I'm replying to as many comments as I can. So I'm not sick of it yet.
Did you want to make it 4 hours, or did it just turn
I
into
had
a 4
no
hour
idea how long the video was going to take. So I did a Castlevania complete history that was 2 hours.
Cucumbers.
Which makes sense because there's so many Castlevania games. But the difference is with this script, I would do a couple of lines, and then I would do a break. Here's a date. Next break, another couple of lines. So the script was so stretched out. I had just no idea what the end number was going to be. People kept saying 4 hours. I'm like, nah, 2 maybe, 2.5.
So was it how many pages was the script? 400?
102 pages for the main script and 210 for the research.
I was close. Close.
Holy shit!
I'll send them to you. I'll show them to you. They're pretty hardcore.
Knowing some about that, not as much as Jay, my asshole tightened up when you said that to me.
Serious question, Slopes. Do you ever plan to do a complete history of Metal Gear? Thank you for relieving my stress and helping me sleep over the years with your relaxing videos. I still can't find my shrimp.
Metal Gear is one of those games that it took so long for me. I was like, I want to play that. Oh my god, there's another one. I really should get into that. Oh, there's another one. I really should get into that. And it's taken me a long time to get into Metal Gear, so I'm actually very behind on Metal Gear. Potentially one day I feel like I will have to do Metal Gear Solid, but I'm nowhere near knowledgeable enough to even touch that topic yet. So
yeah, when you want to do those deep dives, man, like you don't. Well, you know now with the Amico, but you never know how deep those rabbit holes go. And, if you're going to do a deep dive, you got to go deep. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, like, once you open up Pandora's box, you know, it could take forever to... So, it's crazy, because then, like, you find out some information, and then that leads to other information, and then it's like... Oh no! When do I stop? Like, did you find that with the Amico script? It's like, okay, when do I stop talking about something because it just keeps going? Like, did you was that tough?
Yeah, I kind of knew it would catch people's attention when I got to the point where, and then this game was released, and then this game was released, and then this game, because it turned into, let's see how ridiculous this can go, and it didn't stop. And I thought I knew that would be the hook, you know what I mean? So I just.
Well, that was smart the way you laid it out on both sides with all the fucking ideas, and then all of a sudden all the games. I, as an editor, I saw exactly. I knew what you were doing with that, and I was wondering. I'm like, at some point, as the creator of the video, you could just keep saying games, but you could just also say and then Tommy just said 50 more games. I don't need to go through them. I was impressed because you just kept going. You're like, and then he said this and this. And I was like, holy shit.
176 was the final number.
So it's lunacy to when you break these things down and actually look at them from this standpoint. How many?
176 games he announced.
Well, it's hard to say because as I did that list, I realised I said Gauntlet twice, so I had to remove that, and you don't see it because I've cleaned it up. And there was and I said another one twice, but then I realised as I was doing it, I went, oh my god, there's that one. Oh, I've got to add that on the list, and I've got to add that on the list, and I've got, and then I realised, so even though I was taking a couple away, I was adding some, and then also he said things like Sega games, and then later said things like Shinobi. Is that just the one Sega game he's talking about, or is there more?
Yeah.
So I would say at least 170, but I would be so shocked if it's under 200 if you actually went through everything.
So I do have to ask this in terms of the tone of the video itself, and I mean, you could have easily made fun of some of the people in the video, but for the most part you make fun of yourself. And
Right.
I want to know, how did you judge that tone?
30 seconds remaining.
Say a joke about somebody in the video and then said, maybe that's a bit too much, or maybe I should maybe poke him a little bit here? Because there's a lot of people in this journey that could be poked around, you know? I'll poke you.
I don't think so.
10 seconds remaining.
I tell you what, actually, I did hold back on one bit with Tommy himself because I just felt so crushingly bad for him. But at the end, I'm watching it through his eyes with that Willy Wonka thing, and I'm like, have I just destroyed his film, like his favorite film, and a room in his house?
How you did that ending, I was like, this deserves an Oscar. I mean,
well, basically, as I was doing it, and then I had that final bit to come out. I went, what can I put in here? And you'll notice that I've put loads of hidden stuff. I always hide things in my videos. For instance, the wallpaper behind the television is the lickable wallpaper from the first movie.
Yeah.
And there's a bit where J. Allard's holding a PSP, and inside it, it's Willy Wonka screaming, like, "You get nothing!" You know, it's such a tiny little bit. And I realised at the end, I'll put that little quote where it's like, "So when do we get it? You don't. Why not? Like, you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir." There was one little bit that I cut out of that because the granddad continues talking before Willy Wonka starts shouting. He goes, "You're a cheat! You're a cheat! You're a swindler!" And I'm like, it works for the video, but like I can't do this. I'm crushing this man so much.
Yeah, like, because dude, I have to say, from another quote unquote film, you know, what you did is amazing. What I've done so far is decent versus what you've done. But as two sort of editor, filmmaker type people, when you cut to that fucking song at the end, and I knew what you were going with there, and that just the slow pans and everything, I thought, if Tommy watches this fucking video, he's going to be in tears at the end of this. Because, dude, it's almost like you're...
Of course he watched it.
Well, of course he watched it, but it's the ending of that video is like you saying, Tommy, you had a dream. You had everything in this factory. You had all the power that Wonka had, but you blew it. And that was what you wanted, Tommy, but you blew it. And it's at the end where you're like, holy shit. Like, it actually made me emotional. I was like, wow, Tommy really...
So I tell you what, like I kept getting clips from the movie. There's a few bits where I got the bit where, you know, you got the smarky Willy Wonka where he's like looking, you know, that famous meme. That in one bit where the screen pans over, you see it in the background. I do lots of little hidden things like that. So whilst I was editing, sometimes I'd have like random music playing or whatever else. And Pure Imagination came on, and I was just like sitting there. I was like, "This is how I'm going to end the video."
Yeah.
Oh my god! And it all just clicked, and I was just like, and I was sitting there, and I'm like, with a spin. I'm like, with a spin, that can be the spin of the controller. And if you want to view paradise, I'm like, paradise. That's Earthworm Jim on the beach. And I'm like, oh my god, it's all coming together. And then I found the footage of him walking through in television with his arms out as if I was a kingdom. And I'm like, oh my god, it's all coming together. This is how I'm going to end the video. And I just started freaking out and trying to explain to people, and I'm rabbiting on like, well, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to have the screen come along, and all this, the games are going to lift up, and they're like, okay. And I'm like, it'll make sense when it comes. It'll make sense.
He couldn't get out of his... Tommy must hate the internet because he couldn't get out of his own way. And the internet made... People probably walked on eggshells after he garnered some success, and he was used to that, and he was used to the insulation that what his success garnered. Granted that a lot of it's not true.
1 minute remaining.
The internet basically just exposed exactly who he is, you know, whereas back in the day, even, I'm sure he was a nightmare to work with, but no one would say anything because he was probably cutting a lot of their checks.
Yeah. I don't know.
Thank you to Carmen for the 3-month resub. He says, "I'm so horny for my 3 months. I subscribe, Bird."
30 seconds
remaining.
Thank you for being horny and birds.
Gravity of Ghost 3-month sub says, "Here for the birds and Amico again." Thank you. Appreciate you. So when you came to the very end of it and you did that Wonka thing, did you ever think of like going? Did you go backwards and add a little bit more Wonka throughout it? Because you're like, This is a good,
as I got to like, and I knew that was how it's going to end. I was like, okay, so when I do my videos, I always do the intro last. Because by that point, I know roughly what the video is going to be about, and I can add little bits in there. So I obviously had to say Willy Wonka obsessed, and then I was looking through, and I'm like, Willy Wonka wannabe, that can go in there, and I'm going to throw like the you're always going to have the Willy Wonka posters, the Charlie and Chocolate Factory and Willy Wonka posters behind it. I want to zoom in on the fact that he's got that Willy Wonka themed room. Little things like that. Just I want to constantly show off Willy Wonka in this. There's a few times when the camera pans and there's actually the Wonka logo behind it. You see Gene Simmons pop up every so often. Not Gene Simmons. What I'm talking. What's his name?
Yeah, Gene Simmons is from Kiss, I think.
Kiss.
Right?
Yeah, he's
No.
the long tongue guy.
Wait, I thought we were talking about what's his name? I thought we were talking about Richard Simmons.
You're thinking, what the hell are you talking about? What
I
are
don't
you
know.
on?
I thought you put Richard Simmons in
Gene
the background.
Wilder. Gene Wilder. Sorry.
Gene,
yeah.
with
I
Gene
thought I had to go
Simmons.
watch the fucking video again for Richard Simmons cameo.
But yeah, I mean, he's a hardcore collector. He's got like some of the eggs from the film. He's got all the everlasting gobstoppers. Those like weird, like I don't even know what those are. Like,
Yeah,
jack-
those little.
things.
I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah, I
about.
know what you're talking about.
Those little
Yeah,
candies.
he's actually got those from the movie. I believe he knows that he knows some of the children, obviously now, as adults. Yeah, he's like that. They were actually underneath the telly originally, but they because they were so different in color. Every time I panned out, it was your eyes just focus on that, and I'm like, no, I better get rid of that. The TV was a Sony or a JVC telly, and I changed that to Mattel Electronics because I thought that was a nice little gimmicky thing there for people out there that thought that was funny. The printers were called the ColecoVision and the Vega Plus, like just little things like that like the big scams and the here comes a new one.
I think a lot to what people don't talk about that kind of destroyed the Amigo is the over-engineering of the controller. I think they tried they were trying to put what I think it's a square peg in a round hole or whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah, they were adding way too much.
It just was the disc, and it was just an antiquated design that they were trying so hard to modernize, and it just kept on falling flat on its face, and it didn't work well.
Well, it's also the fact that the screen is also meant to be a bunch of buttons, which I think is just terrible design. I mean, trying to do a double tap.
Yeah.
I heard people play Finnegan Fox saying, like, if you're trying to do a double jump in that game, good luck to you. Like, they never even got it to work proper, and I thought, you can't even get a character to double jump with the controller, and you're trying to sell me on how many games? Like, this is not going in the right direction.
What I never understood why they didn't do is I was just trying to find it. I've got my Xbox Elite controller here, but the circle part's in the house. On the Xbox Elite controller, you've got like a D-pad, obviously, but you can take that off and then add like a circle-y sort of D-pad that goes over.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Why didn't they just do that? And then you can have a D-pad and a circle pad, and then everyone's happy. Tommy's got his beloved circle pad, and you've still got a D-pad. Everyone's happy.
But here's the thing that Tommy said that was the workaround for that. But they should have done that with the
I know. I
disc, too.
didn't add this into the video.
He
I know
was
what you're
such
gonna
a
say.
what the bullshit artist said was that they had some guy from NASA that designing some buttons to go on the screen so you can have tactile feedback.
Yeah,
How
you
did
could,
that
you could
work
take
out?
them off stickers and essentially sticker buttons and put them into different parts of the screen, so you can everywhere is a button.
I mean, he's just living in the La La Land at that point. I mean, it's just lunacy to think it even got this far. But your video also just shows like.
Can I just shout out? I just saw in the chat you got
Yeah, mate,
Joey
go ahead.
Freeze. Joey Freeze is the voice of Tommy Tallarico in my video.
Oh, is he really? You can
Yeah.
have your shit and eat it too. Yeah, I believe he said NASA. He
To
had
be
some.
fair, I think of a Richard Simmons workout video whenever I hear the Exposed song. It has me
Listen.
shooting loads like it's May 1st. Spread those cheeks, confess your sins, and I'll give that ass some holy communion.
Right up my ass, baby. I love it.
Thank you, Tommy. So that was let's just get this straight. That was
Round
Tommy's Catholic
over.
priest who donated. Thank you.
Tommy's Catholic priest.
Our
Oh,
chat, our
Christ.
viewers are lunatics. I mean, I don't know. This is the last stream.
Infection.
Well, if you think about it too, Slopes. They had Phil Adam, who's now the CEO, aka he's probably getting paid six figures to write a letter every few months.
He claims he's not earning any money now. He doesn't get paid for in television.
I mean, where's
his
the
claim
money
is that
gonna
he
come
has
from?
He has shares in the company, and therefore he wants it to be a success, and therefore he will earn money from that.
Money back, yeah. The
That's what he's saying. I mean, I've got no reason to believe or not believe. I don't know,
But Phil Adam was part of the Coleco Chameleon shit.
He
Like,
was.
even though allegedly he wasn't a part of it, like he didn't put the whole fake prototype together that Mike Kennedy and the rocket
No,
scientist
no.
But think about it from Tommy's perspective. You're another person who's trying to make a niche retro console. You have a guy who was part of a team, even if he was hands off on that part, who was part of another niche retro console that ended up being a scam in the end, where they put a fake motherboard in. Why would you hire someone that was affiliated with that? You don't think that community is going to look into that, find that out? Oh my god! When I found that out, I almost shit my pants.
That was a massive mic drop moment for the community. Like, it's like, what was he involved in? Really?
Yeah, and then you have the guy from Earthworm Jim, and he's like defending him. I'm like, really? This is the hill you want to go on, Tommy? You really want to do all this? Okay.
It's a tough one.
It's incredible. Like, I don't understand how... I mean, look, the console had an uphill battle. I understand. No matter what, even if you had someone sane running the company, but he just squandered everything and screwed up around every corner. It's incredible.
I said, like, you know, like, it's painful for me because he was someone that I looked up to as a youngster. I knew him before I knew more obvious names like Shigeru Miyamoto. And... you know, this is the sad outcome of it. But but when I went to go to the Sega office, when I finally got invited to go to Sega, like as someone that's always been obsessed with Sega from the Mega Drive onwards, like when I got out of the train, like, where is the Sega building? And I finally looked over the bridge and I saw that big building. It had the big blue Sega logo on it. I was like, oh my fucking god, I've made it. This is me being a voice on The Simpsons. I don't need to do anything more than this. I was so happy. And you went in those offices and I'm like, they looked really nice, got big logos, and there was like a Jet Set Radio themed wall and stuff. And I was like, this is cool, but it is just an office. Now you go look at the Tommy Tallarico and Television walk-around videos. They are super luxurious. For a console that not come out yet, and it looks like they're like Google buildings or something. Like the amount, those chairs that the chairs everywhere that no one's sitting in.
Yeah,
they were like £700
not enough
each.
employees. Yeah.
That never made sense to me either. Like, I've been in the Ubisoft head offices in Toronto, and the money that goes into just having an office in a building like that is unbelievable. People don't like the lunches that come through the door. We're talking thousands a day just on food coming into the kitchens. And I mean, when I saw that video of Tommy giving the tours, I thought these guys are like, they've just taken all this money from all these people, and they're just living a sweet life. It's going to last them 8 months, and then they're going to be out on their asses. That's exactly what happened. And it's so sad to think that there was some people that followed Tommy, you know, into those offices and thought, oh my god, I believe in this thing. Tommy's really going to lead us somewhere, and, you know, bet their careers on it. And now... I mean, I would be embarrassed to be on that team that actually went in the office that tried to make this successful.
And a lot of YouTubers' credibility, which, hey, you know, they were adults, but a lot of YouTubers' credibility are now ruined because of a lot of those smaller YouTubers who rode that train. You know, it's going to be tough for them to be anyone to consider them credible again.
Well, no, it goes into what you were saying to me earlier about, or in the DK Oldies video. We'll wrap it up with this sort of thought that you were saying, and you keep saying in the DK Oldies video, and it applies to Tommy. If Tommy just came out, or these people came out and said, listen, we've made a mistake, we've learned from our mistakes, we're going to do better, we apologize, and personal apologies to everybody, and blah, blah, blah. That's the way you turn the story around. But like DK Oldies, they're insane over there. They're just like, well, our consoles are clean. Every console we send out is clean. And we're like, no, we've proven you wrong. Including like Jacob R, we've all proven you wrong. And they're still, to this day, saying, no, every console is cleaned and all this. And it's just like, Tommy, just stop for a second. I mean, it's too late for Tommy to do this, but it's just... I don't think he could ever survive this, but I think that seeing a bunch of the YouTubers say, like, listen, I made a mistake, I fell into it, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. I think they can still salvage it.
There's a lot of people that are. There's a small minority that are really clutching on to this thing still might come out. If you want to deep dive into the obscurity, there's a website. There's a YouTube channel called Goose. If you search for Goose and then Amico, he does the most ridiculous edits. It's actually it's insane.
You mean of like the people still to this day thinking it's coming out?
Yeah, you got those. There's the coming soon stream, and he's clipped together all of the times that they've said, yeah, I think we'll be getting some news soon. There should be some news soon by the end of the month. I think we'll be getting some news soon at the end of the month. And it's just like loop, and they're still holding on. They're still holding on. But there's also some other stuff that he's done which is just hilarious. Yeah.
It's lunacy what Tommy did. Like at one point, Tommy said, I remember what was said. I don't remember exactly how it was said or how it went down, but I remember when Rich went from sort of like, okay, I'm kind of into this, and yeah, okay,